Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. You never know what someone's capable of until they're looking to break into your home. Today in the rLounge, just when you thought the past was dead and gone, it comes looking for the spare key to your front door. Am I the a-hole for not helping my half-sister? My half-sister and I have no real relationship. Background. My dad divorced our mother when I was 5, and half-sister was still 4, but going on 5. Half-sister was a product of my mother's affair and born exactly 9 months after me. My dad stayed with my mother up until I, at 5, told him about the man my mother kept bringing over when he wasn't home. That would be half-sister's father. My dad gave my mother the house in exchange for removing his name from half-sister's birth certificate. He paid her child support for me up until I was 8, and my mother abandoned me during her week because her affair partner didn't want to take a child that wasn't his to visit his family for the holidays anymore, and half-sister pretty much hated me because her grandpa supposedly liked me better. Dad tried to be civil and make sure I had a relationship with half-sister after that, but I didn't want anything to do with her either, so never spent time with her after that. Half-sister herself would say she didn't have a sister, so I never claimed her. Am I the a-hole question and advice needed? The day I made my account, half-sister called me. I don't know how she got my number, but she was sobbing about our mom, kicking her out of the house, and not wanting anything to do with her now that she's married to, random name, don't know who he is. I just hung up on her, to be honest, and she started texting me that she really needs her sister's help. She says she has nowhere else to go. Her father cut contact a while ago, and no one was willing to come up to get her. She lives 6 hours away from where I live, which I guess is easy to figure. I live next door to my dad. I'm a bit torn because when she called again, I told her we're not actually sisters and I'm not coming up to get her, nor am I giving her a place to stay until she's back on her feet. Then I hung up again. I blocked her number, but she's been calling from other numbers, and now I have people from my mother's family telling me I'm an awful sister and I should be more understanding because I was once the child that got kicked out. I just need some insight because I want to know if I'm in the wrong or if I should have gone about it differently. Let's take a listen from an opinion in the community. Not the a-hole. Tell those people that they should take her in if it matters that much to them. Someone else says, not the a-hole. Your mother's family has a lot of nerve. Are any of them stepping forward to help your half-sister out? Ultimately, you don't owe her anything due to some shared genetics. At the same time, do you want to act the same way she did? I'd definitely be cautious bringing someone into my home that I didn't trust enough to not rob me blind, etc. You know her better than we do. If you do decide to be the change you would like to see in the world, just be certain to lay out all of the possible ground rules ahead of time. The OP replies, that's my main question, the act the same way she did part. Had this been a few years earlier, I would have helped her, I think. When we were kids, I'm pretty sure she was just parroting whatever her parents were saying. But we're both 25 now, and I don't get why, after 17 years, I'm the one she comes running to. I don't think I should have said what I said when she was already so emotional, but I just don't get it. No one is helping her as far as I know. Most of the people calling, texting are people I don't have a relationship with. My grandma claims she has a full house right now, and since I technically live alone, she thinks I should help half-sister out. But she's saying that because of the whole family helps family mindset. I don't know her all that well anymore either. She's as much of a stranger to me now as she is to you. I just want to know what others would do in my place. You made the right choice. After 17 years, she decides she needs your help? Where was she all those years? And for your mother's family to be getting mad at you? They're just as much her family as you are, so they have no right pointing fingers. Like the comments said, she's a stranger. Why would you allow a stranger into your home? You have no idea who she is or what she's capable of. Update. They dropped her off at my house. Rant. 4 days ago, I made my account and contemplated asking if I was an a-hole for something. My half-sister called me crying, saying our mother kicked her out and she really needs her sister. I hung up the first time, and when she kept calling and texting, I told her we're not actually sisters and I wasn't driving 6 hours to pick her up, nor letting her stay with me. I've been getting nonstop texts and calls from my maternal family since then. My maternal grandmother, the only person I stayed in any contact with, pretty much begged me to be a good sister and let half-sister stay with me. She told half-sister I have my own house and gave her my number, etc. I've blocked my grandmother and everyone saying that I should be understanding because we've both been abandoned by our mother. It isn't the same. I told my grandmother this, but no one seems willing to acknowledge that. For context, half-sister and I are exactly 9 months apart. She's the product of an affair, and my dad stayed with my biological mother until I was 5 and told him she kept bringing a man around when she wasn't home. Her affair partner and half-sister's biological dad divorced biological mother and gave her the house in exchange for removing his name from half-sister's birth certificate. Biological mom lost custody of me when I was 8 after abandoning me because affair partner didn't want to bring a child that wasn't his to family gatherings. Dad tried to keep it civil so I could have a relationship with half-sister, but she was a mini affair partner and never viewed me as a sister. I didn't like being around her, so my dad never forced me to be. Biological mom, affair partner, and half-sister moved not long after this. Biological mom had been in childcare and lost her job because no one wants to hire you to watch their kids when you abandon yours in the middle of the night. I haven't seen half-sister in 17 years. I didn't know what she looked like until I came home today. She was sitting on my porch with a suitcase in a car. I think my grandmother's pulled off as soon as I parked. I didn't get out of the car. I was too angry to even move, and I'm still angry right now. She kept saying she needs me and started crying, telling me that our mom was awful, her dad cut contact, and biological mom's new partner doesn't want her in the house. I live next door to my dad, so when half-sister started knocking on my car window after I just stared at her, I called him and told him what was going on and asked what I should do. Dad told me to stay in my car and call the cops, say I had a trespasser, which I did. I didn't get out until the cops came, and when they did, half-sister told them I agreed to let her stay, and now I'm leaving her homeless. I just showed them the texts, specifically the only text I gave in response to everyone demanding I let her stay. No to you have the space, no to she's your sister, no to can she please stay with you. Nothing but refusals before I blocked people. When half-sister kept saying we're sisters, I told the cops I haven't seen this woman in 17 years. I don't know her. I didn't even know what she looked like. We're not family beyond sharing an egg donor. I went as far as unblocking my grandmother and calling her. I didn't even get to speak. She yelled, "Look, OP, I love you, but you need to get over this. She's family and she needs you, and I've told your father you'd go to hell if he raised you to be so dang selfish, and you definitely will because she's going through the same thing you went through." She hung up right after, and I told the cops they can book her or drop her at a shelter. I don't care. I just want her off my property. They took her, and now I'm sitting here on my dad's couch wondering what the heck just happened. He doesn't want me staying alone right now in case they showed back up. I'm so pissed right now. I don't get it. 17 dang years of no contact. I only speak to my grandmother on holidays. I don't know most of the aunts and uncles and cousins that blew up my phone, but because biological mom pushed me out, I have to do what they tell me to. I'm 25 years old. I've only had my dad and my paternal family for years. Biological mom and her family haven't done crap for me. None of them even know when my dang birthday is because even my grandmother texts me on the wrong day. Not even a phone call. If half-sister needs help so badly, one of you should help her. I don't know her. I don't know any of you either. I'm not letting an entire stranger into my house. And 6 hours is too far to visit when I had surgery, but not too far to try and force me to do something. You most definitely are not the a-hole here, OP. These people on your mother's side are trying to force something upon you that isn't even your responsibility. And they're hypocrites. They want you to help, and they don't want to lift a finger. Now we know where your mom gets her incredible lack of responsibility from. They're all one and the same. Update. For clarity to new people, there are some acronyms that stand for stuff, but have no fear, I got you. I checked the camera footage last night and this morning. Half-sister and biological mom's mother had been looking under mats, rocks, in potted plants, the mailbox, and checking the doors. Probably were looking for a spare. I don't keep one on my property, and my dad, grandma, and grandpa have keys they keep with theirs. My uncle did an overhaul of mine and dad's cameras. We now have ones that send notifications to our phones when motion is detected. Also got Ring doorbells for the front and back doors. There are other features, and all the cameras are better hidden as well. I went to the police department while he was doing this and brought my grandpa with me. Half-sister was booked for trespassing, but not held very long since biological mom's mother picked her up from the station. They stuck to the lie of me offering half-sister a place to stay and gave statements. Not sure how that's going to go, but I'm taking steps to protect myself, my property, and my dad and his property. Half-sister doesn't have a record beyond this, so this was her first offense. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. It sounds awful, but I had hoped she would have had at least one prior because commenters make it seem like that would make the outcome of a permanent restraining order and trespassing order favorable. Biological mom's mother does have a record though: harassment, trespassing, and domestic violence. I shared this with the police as well. Either way, I was able to get a temporary restraining order today, so there's that. I gave the camera footage to the police alongside copies of the texts, printed out and on USB, gave a statement, and they called a judge to get the temporary restraining order issued. I talked with them about other things like self-defense recommendations, overhauling my security system, getting a gun for protection, and so on. I was really anxious and just kept talking because it finally hit me that these people know where I live and they're willing to make the 6 hours to harass me and get inside my home. The text and voice messages haven't stopped. I unblocked and muted. There are direct and indirect threats. Biological mom's mother is adamant that since I have an entire house to myself, a stable job, and no children, I will be housing half-sister, or she'd give me the butt-whooping my dad should have. Half-sister has only left one voice message about coming over later today, and that she's staying with me because that's what blood does, they help. When there was no response, she sent multiple texts telling me I need to be more understanding, that she's in a tough spot, and that she's moving in for at least a week until she's able to support herself. It's 7 days to gain tenancy here. Additional clarification for people asking about the age gap. I'm a February 1st baby. Half-sister is a November 29th baby. I say exactly 9 months because I'm not counting the weeks and days, just felt that people knowing we're the same age was relevant and gave context to why I have no relationship with her. I don't know if she was premature. I never asked, to be honest, and there are people saying that they have similar gaps around them, so I have nothing to add. Multiple people also asked if I hate half-sister and that I sound resentful for things she said as a child and for things her parents did. In my first post, I talked to someone in the comments and admitted that had this been a few years earlier, I may have helped half-sister without much thought. I know as children, she was just parroting her parents. I don't fault her for that, nor do I blame her for biological mom abandoning me. But it's been 17 years. We've been legal adults for 7 of those years. She could have reached out at any point, but didn't, and said she had no sister. I also could have reached out at any point, but also didn't. I just moved on with my life. I was in therapy since I was abandoned, and it took me years to move on from no one on that side actually wanting me. Now she's making herself a problem. Biological mom's mother's aside, half-sister was sitting on my porch with a suitcase, ready to force herself into my home and life. She allowed herself to be driven 6 hours to my home, sat on my porch for half an hour, and then lied to police, all after I said no multiple times. She never claimed me until she needed something, and now she's forcing herself into my life on the basis of being family. I don't hate her, that's too much energy, but I do resent her now alongside her grandmother and the rest of the family. I was ignored for years, and now I feel unsafe in my own home just because half-sister and those around her can't take no for an answer. This isn't about biological mom's affair. This is about half-sister and her family ruining my safe space, my home, with their crap. The past is a factor in that resentment now because, again, I haven't spoken to her in 17 years. I didn't know what she looked like, but suddenly we're sisters because she needs some place to stay. I definitely resent that. Also, I feel validated in my choices, posting to Reddit, asking for and taking advice, listening to my dad. The attorney I spoke to pretty much said all of the same things commenters have. Unblocking and muting to get any evidence of harassment. Calling the cops and showing them the messages because it proves there was no implied invitation. This is apparently the biggest thing I had to worry about because even letting half-sister stay on my porch could have worked against me. Giving the cops the camera footage of half-sister and biological mom's mother looking for a spare key was also a good move. Even going about upgrading security, getting self-defense items, and asking the officers about self-defense recommendations, and my wish to get a gun for protection works in my favor. It shows that even though this was half-sister's first offense, I don't feel safe, and she's a major cause of that, and I don't. So thank you again for the advice. If they show up like they said, I'm going to set off my security system and call the cops. Edit from the comment. It wasn't active, the temporary restraining order, when I posted the update because they hadn't been served yet. They were found at a hotel near my home and were served. A neighbor saw them and called the police. I was reporting the texts though. The temporary restraining order is on both half-sister and biological mom's mother. What they're doing is literal craziness. And so what if they both broke into your home? Then they'd both be going to jail. Their behavior is unhinged. I'm sorry you have to deal with this, OP. Thank goodness you have the camera footage, and thank goodness for your dad. Unfortunately, these people will never understand the true meaning of family. Let them suffer in their own toxic bubbles. And be careful out there. What do you think? Well, would you have felt the same? Let us know in the comments below. And thank you for joining along today in the rLounge. Before you go, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you have something you want to share regarding today's content, we want to hear it. See you soon.